Hi there, Sheley again with ReinerStop.com. First off, I just have to say thanks so much if you've been joining along on our educational video series before we get ready to launch the 2.0 version. I am so happy to have you here. And I gotta tell you, thank you. Those that have emailed or commented or DM me about some feedback. I can hear your excitement and I cannot wait to share the new ReinerStop 2.0 with you. And I love that you have found pieces of these educational video series to be relevant to challenges that you have faced and how to overcome them. So just to recap really quick, our first video was on understanding those buyer motivators. And for the most part, buyers are buying based upon a feeling, right? They're looking for some transformation that reining horse will be able to offer them. And then the second video, we talked about reducing those tire kicker calls. And the best way to do it is to have a complete listing of your sale horse, no matter where you share it. If you have all the information out there, tire kickers have nothing to call about. It also presents a great picture from you as a seller, sharing that you are ready and able to sell this horse and can answer the call of any buyer. Now, going on to our third video, right? So this is the last one in the series before we launch. But what I heard back from the survey, again, the survey that I had sent out, those of you that responded back, you helped create this message and ReinerStop. So I thank you for those feedback, but was how to reach more buyers. That's something that I've heard loud and clear, is that I don't know how to reach more buyers. How do I get more buyers? Well, the best way to do that, and I'm going to share this based upon experience, is through diversification of your marketing efforts. And I'm going to go into what that diversification is, what it looks like with the tools that we have, and how to implement it into your marketing strategies as you move your sale horses. So let's talk about diversification. Right? And my experience, if you remember from the first video, is I not only have been running ReinerStop for the last 7 years from that specific experience, but I have over 15 years actually, in sales and marketing. And I've worked in various industries, and regardless of the industry, there are some main commonalities when it comes to sales. You just change slightly based upon the industry that you're in. So I have a wealth of experience, and that's what prompted a lot of these educational videos based upon the feedback and my experience. So when we look at diversification, right? I was a stockbroker back in the day. I think I shared that with you guys. And my goal when working with my clients was to understand their risk tolerance. And if you currently work with a financial advisor, that's what they're looking at, is what is your risk tolerance? And based upon your risk tolerance is how they diversify your assets, right? So being able to spread how many stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance products, index funds, how many different avenues of investing will show how much risk that you are willing to take in order to get your reward. Okay, so that's one level of diversification. Another way of looking at diversification, I'm going to share now from the medical industry, okay, when it comes to marketing and sales, is diversification of efforts to get your marketing message out there. So pharmaceutical companies, what they will do is they'll have, as far as different avenues to get their message out on the medications that they have available for doctors to prescribe, it could be sales representatives calling on doctors. It could be commercials, print ad, emails, Zoom calls, roundtables, medical meetings, good old snail mail information. I mean, there's so many different avenues, and they do all of them. They don't just do one, because they have found that more messages coming from different angles creates more demand for their product, right? Finding more buyers. And that is why it is so important to diversify, because the more that you diversify and use different platforms with your marketing message, again, regardless of the product, but we'll speak specifically to reining horses, is that you get more buyers, okay? So you have to remember that different buyers use different platforms. What you may use, if you only use social media to look for horses, there could be a large group of buyers out there that don't use social media. And if you omit those other avenues, you're missing those buyers. You're missing grabbing those buyers. So you want to diversify your efforts, and we're going to go into that in detail today. Now, I'm going to have a little fun. You guys know I like to kind of do some analogies with my videos that help drive home points that I share. And what we're going to talk about today, real quick, before we move straight into the horses, is about TV commercials and then diversifying within TV commercials. So if you look at commercials, and these are TV commercials, like I say. Well, let's talk about 3 different products, okay? Let's talk about a new drill, like a new Makita drill. My husband would be so proud right now. How about Doritos? And then last but not least, how about some health insurance, right? There we go. Got to spell it right. So if we look at these 3 different products and we're looking at TV commercials, I'm a marketing company. Where do I want to market? Well, let's just throw some out there. We have sports. We have news. We've got Disney. How about Lifetime? How about Hulu, right? It's definitely changed, right? From DirecTV, now it's all these different other platforms. And how about the History Channel? I think that is a good mix of different channels that commercials show up on, or different avenues. So if I'm looking and I'm the marketing company looking from a drill, I'm going to be like, okay, well, who's my target market on using the drill? I would say definitely on the sports, definitely on news, probably not on Disney, probably not on Lifetime for the drill. Hulu, yeah. And history, yeah. So I want to make sure that I have commercials going through to those channels based upon their viewership. How about Doritos? I mean, Doritos, absolutely sports, absolutely Disney, Lifetime, Hulu, history. Doritos kind of takes it, all of them. We want to make sure we hit all of those. Health insurance, for sure on sports, for sure on news. It doesn't make sense on Disney. Lifetime, maybe, right? Hulu, probably not a good fit. History, yes. That's going to be based upon the viewership on those channels. And then when we look at each individual channel, you got to even take it a step further and be like, okay, which one is going to give me the best ROI? And that just comes from testing. We have to test where we share our messages. So, let's say with the drill, I'm going to say that the news channel was the best. Doritos, honestly, I can't say just one is the best, but I would assume sports is probably pretty big on Doritos. I mean, think about the Super Bowl with the Doritos commercial every year. It's huge, and they spend money for that. And then health insurance, absolutely the news. I would say the news is probably going to be the biggest kicker for that. So if I am a marketing company and I'm going to Doritos and I'm like, hey, you know what? I think that we only want to create an ad for sports. That's all we want to do. That's the only commercial we want to do. Doritos would be like, well, wait a minute. We have, our market actually spans all these different channels. So if we only do one avenue, how much money are we going to miss out on? And that is the first step of diversification, is that if you look at where your market, your target market is, where your buyers are, you need to understand all the different avenues to be able to reach them. And if you're only using one, how much potential income, how much potential buyers are you missing out on? And now the thing is too, that you have to think about is if you're creating an ad for one channel, if you're spending the time and the money and the effort, why would you not share that time and money effort amongst many different avenues to be able to reach more buyers? So I hope this helps demonstrate how within just even one avenue, TV commercials, you can diversify and then even get down further to find out which one has your biggest ROI. And you can get down further, time of day, sport. You can really dive down as deep as you want when it comes to your marketing efforts and creating messages. And these big brands, this is exactly what they do. So what I'd like to do next is go over our current tools that we have available in the reining horse industry. So I think it is good to do a kind of an overall analysis. And I'm just gonna briefly talk on each one, pros, cons. I'm not saying one's better than the other. These are just kind of facts about them. But there is one thing that I think that we can all agree on. And that is that marketing and really selling horses is gonna either cost you time, or it's gonna cost you money, or it's gonna cost both. And when you embrace that and realize that sometimes the more time you put in, the bigger dollar value you get. That is a key component when it comes to marketing, is understanding that there is gonna be a time and money investment, and those investments made have the potential to reap you higher rewards. So that's first and key. So let's look at some of the tools, and then we're gonna talk about diversification a little bit. So first tool I'm gonna go to, and I think it's probably, I actually don't think, I know based upon the survey results that 79% of you use social media for your buying and selling horses, looking for horses. So I'm gonna say social media. All right, now with social media, right? Top one being used, again, based on the survey, is Facebook. Instagram has definitely taken a road and taken away some of that piece of pie with the social media aspect of it, but Facebook is still the leader there. And YouTube is absolutely there. It's more of an accessory tool in our industry right now rather than a forefront tool, but I do see that changing here in the near future. So with social media, I think it is very important to note a few things. And with social media, you have some control over the content you put out there, but you don't have control over who sees it. And that, I will tell you, since launching ReinerStop, we started the ReinerStop page back in 2012, and just since that, it was the end of 2012, just since launching, really in the 7 years that it has been out there, the algorithm and social media has completely changed. And so just because you share something out there doesn't guarantee that your whole community sees it, whether it's on your business page and or on your personal page. And in fact, Hootsuite, who is a nationally known social media management company, they estimate that only 5 to 6% of your posts will, your posts will only reach 5 to 6% of your following organically without paid ads. So let me reverse that. That means that 95% of the people that you follow or that follow you will not see your post. So I think that is key to have out there. It is free to use social media. You can use paid ads when necessary. I think it is a nice tool to have out there. But social media, we mostly use it. I don't want to say all. We all mostly use it. It's a great tool. Word of mouth, right? Word of mouth is probably the most tried and true in our industry, right? We all talk to each other, whether it's non-pro to non-pro, non-pro to other trainers, everybody, we're all talking and sharing, hey, what do you have for sale? I'm looking for this. I think word of mouth is very key and will continue to be key and should be a staple. Next one is going to be websites, okay? So when you look at websites, before ReinerStop, there weren't any like truly high quality reining horse websites out there. There are many sites for selling horses out there, but they are all different disciplines, all different breeds, and you don't really attract the right qualified buyer. Part of the reason why I created ReinerStop, as I shared in my first video. But with websites, you do have a little bit more control, right? Through creating ReinerStop, and you'll see this as I share a little bit more, but you are able to have a higher search engine optimization through a website. What that means is that Google or search engines likes your site and will give it a higher priority to viewers or people that search versus other avenues out there. You're able to, websites typically have dedicated buyers coming to it. So you get a much more qualified buyer than on social media. If you even run an ad on social media, it doesn't drill down to buyers. It may drill down to people that like raining, but that doesn't mean that they're a buyer. Where a website, you have a dedicated buyer. And there is a cost involved with a website, right? So you definitely need to take that into consideration. Next, I would say are auctions. Auctions are a tool that have been around. I myself had a lot of success a few years ago purchasing a yearling that turned out to be great in an auction. And I think they're a necessary tool. I think they're great for breeders. I think they're great for trainers and or owners as well. The challenge with an auction is you don't get to control the price, right? So you have the option to pass out. You have a cost associated with getting the horse fitted and ready for the auction. And if you pass out, then you're out at that point. And the other thing is time. If you need to sell your horse now, but you want to use an auction that's 5 months from now, is it better to wait and get to the auction? Is it better to try and sell the horse now and maybe take a little bit less because I'm not going to have 5 months of costs associated with it? These are things that you have to look at when it comes to using an auction. Then we have brokers, right? We have horse brokers. And with brokers, the great thing about a broker is they are dedicated to selling horses. And we've got some great brokers that are throughout the country. And it's nice because if someone is calling them, they are a qualified buyer looking to make a purchase. And typically, most of them do such a wonderful job of being able to market the horses. There is costs associated with that, but they are typically able to get sales done relatively quickly because they have those qualified buyers coming. Next, I'm going to talk about is email. So I know that email, right? I think about a decade ago, it was huge. Maybe 15 years ago, it was huge. And everybody was all about emails and they thought email marketing fell off. I'm here to tell you, email marketing is huge. Think about all the emails that you get every day or emails that you sign up for. Think about the ones you open versus you don't. Email marketing is very important. It is coming back stronger than ever right now, especially with all the technology utilization that we have going on. And when it comes to emails, you have to understand the quality of the list that you're using. What is the click rate? What is the open rate? How often are they sending? Are they peppering their people? So you have to make sure that it is going to be tied accordingly to what your goals are with your marketing message, but emails are very, very important. And then local associations. So with local associations, this was something I think that was, again, used previously, and I think it's an underutilized tool. Our local associations are very nice because it is such a community involvement there. Typically, they have email. Typically, you're able to do a lot more word of mouth very easily. So your local associations, some even have sale pages on their websites. You just need to make sure that they're updated accordingly. So this is another tool that we have at our fingertips within our industry as far as marketing efforts. So when you look at diversification, and then you can diversify within, right? So in social media, where am I going to put my efforts? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok? What am I going to use? What do I get the best ROI or return on investment? Word of mouth. Am I just going to focus on my trainer? Or am I going to bring in a broker on that? Everyone needs to be in communication, of course, with selling the horse, but there's ways to diversify even within our tools. So let's do this real quick. And when we look at diversification, I would say, based upon the survey, is that 50% of the time, sellers, are using social media. And I'd say the other 50% are word of mouth. Those are probably the two highly used tools right now by most sellers, okay? But when you look at our list, and if our goal is to reach more buyers and we're only using these two, could we be missing out on some potential buyers out there? Now, I want you to ask yourself, what do you use the most? Probably these two, right? Does that guarantee that your buyers will use the same as you? No, it doesn't. And so that is something that is very key, and I'm gonna diversify for you real quick, but I want you to think about the efforts that you put in your whole diversified message are so important, because just because it's the first time someone sees your horse for sale and they don't buy, doesn't mean the 5th time that they see that horse go, that one I think is gonna fit me. We've all seen this, right? When we see a commercial for Doritos and then we're scrolling on social media, oh, there's another Doritos. Then we're on Amazon and we see an ad on the side for Doritos. I'm like, oh man, I want some Doritos right now. I think that is what we are getting inundated with. We also need to see that, because right at the point that we see our efforts being marketed, we might not be ready to accept that that horse actually fits my need. But like I said, the 5th time I see it on a different platform, I might go, okay, I think this one is good for me. So if we took our efforts and just split it up into quarters, right? We did 25% each one, and we did social media. We did word of mouth. We did websites. And then we did email. Just looking at these 2 pie graphs, which one do you think is going to reach more buyers? I think we can all safely say that this pie down here, this diversification, we're gonna reach more buyers. And if you're creating an ad that you're sharing here, why not also share it over here? So your efforts and your time actually go down when you diversify more. I hope that makes sense. So just to recap really quick, to diversify your efforts and move down here to a pie that looks like this, and you could even take it a step further, right? For social media, you can be like, okay, I'm gonna spend 70% of my time on Facebook and only 30% on Instagram. I'm gonna share once a week, or I'm gonna share every 3 days, because I know only 5 to 6% actually see it. So 95% of the people that I follow are not seeing it. So I'm gonna share it Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the next 3 weeks. I'll get different people each time. You can diversify even further in here, and the best way to do it is trial and error and test. So I hope that helps illustrate how diversification can help you reach more buyers, which ultimately will lead you to your goal of being able to sell your horses that much faster for the price that you're asking. So I just want to pivot real quick and just remind you that you are part of a very unique community here with ReinerStop, and I'm so happy to have you here. I appreciate you being part of our community, and because of that, my next video that's going to be coming out in just shy of 5 days is going to have an exclusive offer for you, and it is for launching the new ReinerStop 2.0 version. And just to jump in there a tiny little bit and remind you, I'm going to give you a little tease, is that ReinerStop was created to connect both buyers and sellers together of high quality reining horses in one easy to use platform. Some of the things that you're going to see is full inclusion. Anyone who has a great reining horse for sale can absolutely put it on ReinerStop.com and take advantage of our community that we have here. We're going to have more search features, which means it's so much easier for you to drill down and find that horse, that exact horse that you're looking for. I did hear through the survey, mobile is what you guys are using. And what's great about our mobile technology that we have incorporated, you can not only search very easy for sale horses, but you can list your horses very easily through the mobile application. And what's nice through a website is you don't actually have to download an app. You don't have to go to your desktop to create the listings. You can do everything from your phone on the website. We have singular pricing. That's going to be a change as well. So it's one price, everything is included, from videos to photos, editing as much as you want, sharing as much as you want. And that brings me to the next piece, is that the social media sharing. So talking about diversification, I thought about this with creating it, and through ReinerStop, you're going to be able to diversify your efforts with one click and make it very easy to use. So I'm excited to share that as well. And you know what's nice about ReinerStop is that it has been around for 7 years. And that creates something that's truly unique in the sense that it is established. We are seen as the leader in buying and selling horses online, reining horses online specifically. And what you're gonna see coming forward with ReinerStop is a lot more value and education for our reining community. Like I shared, I'm just like you guys. I love reining horses, and I want to bring as much value to our industry and grow our industry as much as I can. So back to that special offer, because you are part of our email list, I'm going to ask for two things. One, if you know someone or your trainer or your client or whomever that has horses for sale, make sure to forward this email on to them. Tell them to come on over to ReinerStop.com and sign up to be a part of our email system or email community so that they can also take advantage of the offer that's going to come. And number two is start compiling everything you need for that complete listing. Okay? That's going to be key. If you need some tips and tricks on that, go back and watch the last video. That will show you how to compile everything for a complete listing. So have that ready. Within 5 days or so, you're going to see another email from me with some very exciting launch news. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining, and we will be in touch soon.